Hey, all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Coach's Corner. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mike Lamb of Focal Point of Utah, and I am Adam Gahabe of Focal Point Business Coaching of Cary. So, Mike, how are you doing today?
Good. I've had a little cold, but I'm doing all right. So I apologize if I cough a little.
We're going to power through. So, once again, you know, Coach's Corner here, it's a podcast where we talk about, a lot of the things that we're seeing within the markets that have business impacts with our clients and kind of how we address those. And, I love this podcast because it lets us kind of share some of these really high level things that it's so important for people to be conscientious of. It's very easy for us to look past some of these basic principles and basic facts, and to remind us from time to time on where to focus our energies is critical to keeping us on our path. So, having said that, Mike, I'm gonna throw a little topic out there for you. Okay, I'm gonna say one word, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. The one word is culture. Okay, one of the things that I've been talking to a lot about is what is the culture? How do you set a culture? How do you get it ingrained within an organization? And why is it important? And one of the things that I'm coming out of these is sometimes people are stumble across their culture, right? And so I
Mhm.
basically want to just take a little TV timeout and I want to talk about why it's important to you, why it's important for it to be a focused effort to have it instilled, followed, and ingrained into, everyone's mindset about the business and what it means to the organization. So let me put you on the spot here. Mike, what does culture mean to you with regards to an organization or business?
Um, yeah, I like what you said there. Culture happens good or bad. It's if we don't if we don't do it with intent or without thought, we could have a bad culture without even knowing it. So
Mhm.
we have to make sure we put thought into it. So culture, it's really it's something that should be ingrained in all the employees and in even in your clients to recognize the culture of your company. And it definitely emanates off of you, your employees, and your business. And if we put thought into it and we are active in doing and creating culture, then it really shows out. If we just allow it to happen, that's when we start having cultures that are, you know, probably negative and not a positive thing for your company. You might even get a negative view by customers, even.
Okay.
Um, so
Okay.
it kind of it's something that it's I guess you'd want to go it's really deep. It's almost the DNA of your company.
I love that. I love that.
It's
And it starts
yeah.
with that top-down leadership, right? What
Mhm.
are the core values that you stand for? What are the principles that are driving the company and driving your decisions? You said sometimes, you can stumble into a culture, and that typically is probably going to be something 9 times out of 10 that is negative, right? Because it's trends in your behavioral patterns that are surfacing that are becoming systemic to the way that you operate. And typically when, you're falling back on past behaviors, it's either because you have two outcomes. A, it's something that you've used well and has worked well. So sure, let's continue. Or B, it's something that you're under a high stress environment and you're kind of shifting your views and your decisions to go basically get something moving. Now, with either of those situations, if you're making decisions and they don't have a direction, they don't have a purpose, the outbound culture that is established within the organization can have a long-standing impact because it always takes way more time to roll back processes, roll back actions, roll back viewpoints on the way that you should be operating, right? So it really does start down with the leadership impact. So, question for you, Mike. As a leader, what is your number one priority or number one set of actions that you would take in order to establish and set up a culture that will help your company thrive?
Yeah. That needs to be established early. And even when we're creating a business, we need to stop and look at our core values, right? What are
Hmm.
our values as a business? And as a leader, you may have some internal values that are really important to you, but as a as a business, we need to identify what our core values are as a business. And so having those core values, then building our culture around those values, and that comes through creating a mission statement that
Okay.
is identified, and it should be known to the entire company right from the
Yeah,
get-go. It should
absolutely.
be in the handbook. It should be the first thing that people read. I think it's great when companies have their mission statement on a plaque around their office
Hmm.
and reminding the employees and reminding you. Some of the best ones I've seen, really, their mission statement goes so deep to not just about, providing the best service to our customers, but it can be having the best employees, the neatest
Yep.
and cleanest documentation, something like that. That we need to start there.
So
And if we have that, we can start building everything around it.
it's really easy to talk about values, right? It is a buzzword that we talk about. Let's get into some specifics. Okay. Let's go rapid fire back and forth. What are some key values that you have when you set up Focal Point of View Utah? What is your number
Uh,
one value?
Community.
Community. Okay.
Yeah. Giving back to the people around me, my community of people
Okay.
that I can affect.
Okay.
It's the pebble in the pond.
Yep.
It's focal points, like the ripples from the pond being that pebble in my community pond. I just looked up at them. I have them right on my
Did you? Yeah.
framed right in front of me. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one at you. I went with transparency. And why? Because I wanted to use transparency as a means to establish trust. When people know that what you're getting is real and it
Yeah.
is specific to you, that breeds transparency. Okay. What else? What do you got?
Empower.
Empower.
That's my, yep. Empower people through my coaching. That was something that I was the value to me. I want to empower others to do great things.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
so yeah,
Pro progressive. Do you know why?
progressive. No.
Because I want us, I came from the software background, and one of those things that we always did was called continuous improvement, continuous development, continuous growth. And well, that word progressive means that you're constantly moving forward and you are progressing on a prior either point in time, stance, period, skill. And so I want to be progressive in the coaching. Okay. So why are we doing this? Um, very simply, one word can have such a profound impact on how you drive your actions. We've all heard about, or at least some of us, um, even coach in this way. There are books around one word, right? One word that can change your life, and setting one word as a means to drive your actions and your thought processes for any given year. And one word can have such a profound impact on the culture, right? It really is what you stand for. And if your goal is to attract, high level talent that has the same vision, mission, values, you can really rally around certain words that really resonate either through someone's past experiences, their wants, their desires, their needs, or through the actions that they utilize to drive their everyday habits. And I think that's what we're all trying to do here when we talk about culture and using values as that kind of high level barometer. It's getting a group of people that have like-minded views. You and I are both members of BNI, right? And at the beginning of every meeting, we sit there, we talk about what BNI means to us. And it's always fairly similar, like-minded people reaching out to interact and help grow each other's businesses. It is based off of the principle and philosophy of givers gain, and knowing that you're giving forward and you're pushing that forward, it's going to come back in return, right? There's a whole bunch of culture and values just in that statement alone. But the real question is, how do you live it? How do you take it from a series of words that may be on a placard above your monitor, or that are sitting there on my workspace screens? How do you take it from words into actions?
So we have to. we have to integrate it into everything, every part of the organization, right? Not just a
Bingo.
word on the wall or it's up on our website. We have to do it through recruitment. When we're recruiting people, we have to show that culture and that value. We do it when we're onboarding people. We start with performance reviews and those type of things. It needs to be a part, integrated into everything we do, and it needs to be brought up frequently.
Okay.
Um, and so
How,
when we
how
do
do you do
that,
that?
it gives us the compass, you know.
Ooh,
It gives us that compass of where we're going and what our culture is. And we do it through, a lot of different ways. We can have trainings around with our leadership team on the culture and make sure they know what that is. So when they're doing those activities like recruitment and training, they're utilizing that culture. We make it part of our work environment every day. We communicate it, and
mhm.
it's part of our communication. Um,
Yeah.
and then we have, certain things that we do every year to kind of build around it, maybe team building events that have to do with our culture. And then always, we need to be recognizing it and empowering it in our group and in our team.
I love that. And I think you hit on a lot of the outcomes without saying the big picture, which is it's got to be woven into the fabric of the company being. And it's not something you can print in your handbook or put up on a placard. It's got to be something that you live. And how do you do that? It starts with the onboarding process. Yes, this is what we stand for. But more importantly, Mike, examples of how what you stand for drives your decisions, right? If you truly come out and say we are a family forward or family first organization, speak to how you handle work-life balance. Speak to the importance that yourself and your managerial team has around understanding empathetic situations that happen within families or within, their employees' lives. I guess what I'm saying here is talk is cheap, right? So
Yep.
show what you've done in order to make that part of your fabric. And it's not just something where you talk about it once a year or twice a year at the beginning and end. I like to pick one of my values and every quarter when we sit there and kind of sit back and reflect on where we are, what we're doing and how things are going, I want to make sure that that one value is woven into whatever communication I'm having with either my clients, those around me that are helping out, my family, so they understand what's important. Basically, I'm using those keywords, those key values as drivers for a period of time that I can focus on for the overall business. It's cementing, that message. And it's not just something that I'm talking about once. Every time I'm having communication, every time a CEO is having an all hands call with their employees, take that as an opportunity to drive home those factors that either have focus for the organization or are those key cornerstones that make up the fabric of what drives the company, right? Continuously bring that back into your messaging and not just at a level of this is the word of the day or the week or the month. But once again, it's stories and it's multitudes of stories so that every person in the organization knows how they fit in with that fabric. I think that's
Yeah.
that's such a great thing for leaders to do because it starts with leadership. They set the tone for how everyone else feels about the company's actions and where they are being driven.
Yeah, I agree totally. I've watched a company do this where they wanted professional development for their team members and
Mhm.
for their customers. So they wove that into everything, immediately started talking to employees when they came on board about their future aspirations for them to
Mhm.
gain this education there. Someday you will be managing this many people and you're going to need to do the things to prepare yourself for that
Mhm.
opportunity when it comes. And then when they're meeting with clients, they're educating them because it's a product that they may not understand, and there's a lot of laws and things that they have to follow. So they're educating their clients as well, making them a good representative for their company. So they're teaching them about the product as well, so that they can go talk to their the clients have clients too a lot of times, so they're
Of
able to
course.
speak to the product that they're buying to share it with
Yep.
others. And so they focused on educating, and it's impressive how that company's grown because of that development. They wanted to develop individuals and clients,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's just woven in everything they do.
I love that term, woven, right?
Yeah.
It means that it's blended into everything and is at the absolute core of what gives that particular company, that organization, that group of people strength. So basically what you're saying is the culture is creating a positive work environment. Now, what happens? What are the benefits when you have a positive working environment? Productivity's up, right? Morale's up, uh, communications up. A lot of those things that are critical for us to interact and respond well to others. Those are all up. Those are all internal things. Um, but let's flip this. When you have all those aspects and you have a positive environment internally, what does that do externally? What does that do for the types of people that you attract? What does that do for your marketing? What does that do for the visit of the prospect that you've brought in to see your in-house shop and your communications and kind of how things happen behind the scenes? Think about that. It's such a strong tool to attract the type of individuals that you want to be working with,
Yeah.
right? If you have this viewpoint of who you want working in your organization, shouldn't you also have the viewpoint of who you want to be partnered with and work with externally?
Yeah, you
Culture,
should be
values,
able.
mission, all this stuff plays into it.
Yeah, it's representative of you in all things, and everything goes up. If it makes it so much easier to recruit a new hire individual if that's your culture and people see it. They come in for an interview and they see the culture and like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to work. I don't know if you've ever worked for the government, but you go in there and you're like, this is good pay. But there's no culture to a government
It's steady,
job.
it's stable.
Yep. The
It
culture is
was.
I take my vacation when I get it. Yeah, it was. It's a very just kind of punch the clock kind of thing. And maybe there are government jobs, and I've only worked at one in my life, but that have good culture. But my experience is not like that. It's just
Mm,
everybody comes in and collects. So I
right.
apologize if anyone listening to this works for the government and loves their job. But um, so yeah, but that culture, it emanates in everything. It makes people want to come to work for you, it makes them happy. It makes clients want to come use your product and be a part of it and promote it and share it with others. It's just it shows in everything, and that positivity plays all the way down, and it affects the outcome of your business. And we get asked a lot about growth. We get asked to help companies
All the
grow.
time. Yep.
But one thing you can do more than anything is just get this woven into your DNA. You will grow if that's part of your culture and what you're doing with your team, and
Yeah.
make it a positive environment.
If you can do all those things you just talked about, you want to know what that means to me? It means that you're healthy. It means that
Yeah.
you're healthy. And think about that on a personal level, not you right now. But when you are healthy, you have a good, positive, strong mindset. You feel energized. You can go out and do and try to tackle things that, maybe at the brink of your capability, maybe not, but you're going to try them, right?
Yeah.
Health has such a strong driving force on our actions and what we do. And when you have that strong, healthy culture as an organization, you feel like you can go off and do more. And the other thing that kind of ties itself right back into is these fun things called tradition, right?
Yeah.
Um, People love to be part of something bigger. When you have a strong culture, not only do you get all those benefits that we just talked about, but you have the let's call it ability to instill a series of rituals or traditions that people look forward to. You are known for a particular series of conditions, viewpoints, etc. And that is what is driving that purpose. People love repetition. Everyone does.
Yeah.
Think about it. There are certain times of year where you look forward to certain aspects. If you can, if you can weave, nice word there. If you can weave those types of traditions into your culture, you've just found another way to ingrain those beliefs and that system of thinking into your actions.
It's huge. Uh, it becomes people look forward, like you say, to those things. I had a friend who worked as an entrepreneur for a long time on his own, and
Mm,
he started working for a larger company. And he was blown away by their traditions. This just through the holidays was his first time through, and they
okay.
had their holiday party and bonuses and all of that. And he was like, "Man, that feels good to have some appreciation given back to us as employees, and to be a part of that tradition. The business has been around for 75 years, and they were celebrating a big 75-year anniversary.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm a part of something that has been doing this for 75 years, and it really stands out. It gives them a sense of belonging and community at the company, and people that use
Sure
your
does.
products want to be a part of my value community.
Not to mention pride.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that for a minute. How often do people not have pride around the work that they do? Um, I can't tell you how important it is for me to take pride in what we do. As coaches, you and I both know firsthand, we are a services-based business. All right. Our number one aspect is client happiness, client growth, client success. You can't get that without taking pride in what you do. We genuinely care about each and every person that we hop on a phone call with, whether they sign with us or not. Our mission and our goal is to help make them better. If they have one call with us or they have 30, I want someone to take a nugget out of something that I've said and be able to take action on that. Why? Because I take pride in what I do. I want to be the best business coach that you've ever come across, right? I want to meet the executive who said, listen, I'm skeptical. I've gone through a few iterations of working with people like you, but you're different. That means so much to me. I walk away with so much excitement when I've had a great client session, right? I mean, it's almost euphoric. It's like, look what we're able to do. I come home and I'm talking to my wife and I'm talking a mile a minute, and she's like, "So it was a good day, honey?" I'm like, "Yes, it was a good day," but that's because I take such pride in what I'm doing. If everyone was able to have that same level of pride with their work, just think about what you could actually achieve. You know, um, Mike, one last piece here. And I feel like this is important. In today's culture, in general, it's really easy to underappreciate the people that are around you. And that can have such negative impacts around cohesion, people staying together, happiness within the workforce. How can culture drive this viewpoint of professional development and kind of the overall health of the organization?
Um, First of all, we just need to take time to recognize
Yeah.
and appreciate the employees that we have, and whatever that is, if it works out as employee of the month or hitting certain numbers in our goals.
Hmm.
However it is, we need to recognize that because there are people that come to work every day that don't feel appreciated. They're the steady Eddie, um, and we have to recognize that, because without those individuals, we have nothing,
That's right.
and we need to make them feel rewarded. Everyone likes praise. I mean, we talked about generational managing generations last time and leading generations. It doesn't matter what generation, in my mind. they all want to be recognized for the work they're doing.
Everyone.
Whether that's moving, getting promotions, or getting, like I say, employee of the month, we need to recognize the hard work that everyone's putting in every day and the pride that
Yep.
you spoke of, the pride that they take in doing their job. And that can be spot awards. There's so many different ways, but that public praise and acknowledgement, even if it's an email thread as a leader and you just say, thank you for doing such great work. You
Yep.
always do such great work. Little things like that actually go a lot further than one would think.
No doubt. No doubt. I was just working with someone last week and I was like, listen, just try it. Right. And I got feedback. I was like, it was a great experience. And, it's something I'm going to take heart and do more. And, you constantly hear you're only as strong as your weakest link, especially when we talk about teams, right? Sports teams, et cetera, work teams, doesn't matter. But being able to identify and kind of help foster someone's growth and bring people up and recognize when they've done a great job, that is directly tied to your culture, right? It is about fostering that environment of continuous growth, improvement, um, showing people that there's a path for them. That's how you get that buy-in. That's how you get people to follow, right? And so once again, let's tie all this stuff back because I know we're coming up on our time here. Setting a culture, weaving that fabric into your organizational structure starts with your leadership. So leaders, be mindful what you say, how you say it, the frequency in which you drive those points home, how your actions show that you and the organization lives by those words. It's paramount. So please don't lose sight of it because so easy to fall back into traps as you were talking about earlier on, stumbling into a culture. Be focused with what you want this to look like. It'll pay you back 100-fold.
Yeah, have poise, have control of yourself so that you're consistent.
I love it.
Whether you're under stress, a moderate amount of stress or a large amount of stress, still have same control and poise and be consistent in your culture.
Love, love, love.
Hmm.
All right, Mike. Well, guess what? Unfortunately, we are winding down. So for Mike and I, once again, all of you listeners, thank you so much for taking the 20 plus minutes to sit down and listen to us have this discussion. As always, you can look us up on LinkedIn. And once again, if you have future topics you'd like us to cover, please feel free to drop in and let us know, and we're happy to cover them. So once again, this is Coach's Corner signing off again for this week. Take care, all.